Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. Please help yourself to breakfast anonymously sponsored. At the end of the Parsha, we read about the Makoshesh. He was the woodchopper who desecrated the Shabbos. He's put to death. And then the Torah talks about the mitzvah of wearing tzitzis. And there's usually no coincidence. There usually is a correlation. There's a juxtaposition of tzitzis and the woodcutter. There must be some correlation. And what correlation could there be? So the Medrash fills in the gap. The Medrash says that Moshe had a conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And God says to Moshe, why is this man, why is this woodchopper, why is he Mechalel Shabbos, why is he desecrating the Shabbos? So Moshe answered, during the week, he would have to fill it on his head and on his arm, and he would receive them and would refrain from sinning. On Shabbos, he doesn't wear tefillin, and that's why he desecrated Shabbos. So Hashem instructed Moshe to give the Jewish people the mitzvah, which is the turn to sin, which is namely wearing tzitzis. So the question is this makes it sound like this was like just so haphazardly, but the truth is, in order to get the death penalty, you have to be warned by witnesses. So and he knows that he's going to get the death penalty if he does the sin, and yet he was warned that if he Mechalel Shabbos, he'd get the death penalty, and he still did it. So how would tzitzis change the picture? He was warned. He knew about this. So the answer is that sometimes things are not logical. People sometimes operate on a non-logical basis, and the mitzvah of tzitzis has a mystical power almost. It has a way of, which logic doesn't sway. It's a spiritual, metaphysical level. And Moshe claimed that Makoshesh, the woodchopper, had he had the influence of the filling on Shabbos, he would not have been Mechalel Shabbos. And Hashem accepted it, and he gave the Jewish people the mitzvah of tzitzis. There's a fantastic Gemara in Menachos that teaches how powerful the wearing of tzitzis is. And there was a person who was very meticulous. He kept the mitzvah of tzitzis, but apparently this piety didn't extend to all parts of his life. And what happened was he heard about a woman of ill repute who was very beautiful, who charged a fortune of money, and he wanted to spend time with this woman of ill repute. He spends the money, he sells the money, and he goes to meet this woman. And he goes to the place. It's a very opulent place. It's a beautiful setting. It's a beautiful woman. And then what happens, he's about to go up, and what happened is that tzitzis slaps him in the face. And all of a sudden, he sits down, and the woman sits down next to him. He goes, do you find me unattractive? Do you find the flaw? He goes, no, you're the most beautiful person I've ever seen. But what happened was, these 4 fringes of tzitzis were like 4 witnesses, and they stopped me from doing the sin I was about to commit. So the woman says, before you go, tell me the name of your name, the name of your city, the name of your Rabbi, the name of the yeshiva that you go to. The man writes down the information piece of paper, and he goes back to the yeshiva. This woman takes her possession, gives 1/3 to the Roman government, 1/3 she gives to charity, to the poor, and 1/3 she keeps for herself to maintain her lifestyle. She goes down to Reb Chia's base of Medrash, and she says to Reb Chia, I want to convert to Judaism. Because you want to convert to marry one of the students, and she proceeds to tell him the story of what happened with the tzitzis. So she converts to Judaism, and after she converts, Reb Chia says to her, go collect your acquisition. Go marry the student who visited her, in which case that happens. So this Gemara teaches something very, very powerful. This man knew he was about to commit a sin. He knew he was about to commit a sin. But the logical could not stop him. But it was the power of tzitzis that, designated by Hashem as a turn to sin, was able to stop him in his tracks. And that's the lesson of the Makoshesh. Had he had the mitzvah of tefillin or the mitzvah of tzitzis, he would not have done this terrible deed of being Mechalel Shabbos. Have a wonderful day.